Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Rock and Roll Geezers Show. I, of course, am your host, Murph, and we want to welcome again the man with the plan, Doc Vox. How's it going, Doc?
Doing great, Murph. Doing great. Ready to talk about some rock and roll, man.
Sure are. What's going on? What's on the schedule tonight?
Today, our episode today will be on the great debut albums. A lot of times bands kind of take a couple, 3 up to 5 albums sometimes to kind of catch their groove.
Sure.
Other times bands come right out of the gate and make a statement right away. So without wasting too much time to get right into it, we're doing our top 13.
Sure. Absolutely.
Number 13 is the debut album from Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz, 1980.
Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz. There he is. That was such a great album. That really, well, the thing about Ozzy is, he just pulled out of Sabbath, and he wasn't, he wasn't sure what was going to go on from there on in. I myself don't think he's a great vocalist, but he had what it takes. And man, let's talk about the guitarist, legendary Randy Rhoads. This was the first of 2 albums that Randy played on. Blizzard came out about October 20th of 1980, and I think we were hungry for an album like this. We really was.
Yeah, we didn't know what Ozzy was going to do. We didn't know if he was going to do anything, and he was kind of lost in the weeds for a little bit there, and kind of Randy Rhoads kind of fell into his lap, and boy, man, what a pair. I remember this album coming out. I was just right at that right age. And it just, hearing the Crazy Train coming through in stereo on both speakers, and it was just awesome.
Crazy Train, I Don't Know.
Yeah,
Mr. Crowley.
Mr. Crowley.
Won't you eat my white shorts? Dun, 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 something like that. I don't know what the lyrics are. Nonetheless, just a stunning debut. Rolling Stone gave it number 9 on the 100 greatest metal albums. So,
right.
I'm not surprised about that. Randy was he was one of those Eddie Van Halen kind of guys who just just set the pace, man.
And of course, the song "Suicide Solution" started the whole court action about Kid Smith's suicide and all that. But moving on,
yeah.
Number 12 would be the debut album from 1978 from The Cars.
The Cars, great album.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they really had a niche. They, just really incredible songwriting. That's what really made it. Was the songs were just great. Good Times Roll, Just What I Needed, My Best Friend's Girl. Come on.
That's just it. I remember hearing this album, and like a lot of us got introduced to albums from buddies, older brothers, and we heard this. And at the time, we were just into AC/DC and Aerosmith and bands like that, and we certainly didn't want to have anything to do with any band with a keyboard in it. And here come the Cars, and definitely changed my mind. And they had the catchy hooks, they had the catchy songs kind of on the first side of the album, and then the second side was a little darker. You had like Moving in Stereo and All Mixed Up and songs like that on there. So just a very well balanced album coming out of the gate, a new sound. They hit right at that right time when punk was trying to do something and it was transforming into new wave, and they were right there at the forefront of it. That was a great album.
They were part of the YouTube or the MTV also. This album came out.
Oh yeah, they were ready.
78.
Yeah,
number 18 on Billboard's Great 200. So. It was a great debut album. So good for them. Boy, the late Rick Ocasek, and Benjamin Orr,
both the vocalists.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving along, number 11 from 1990.
Yeehaw!
The debut from Pearl Jam.
10 indeed.
Obviously part of the whole grunge scene. Nirvana's debut, Nevermind, was not their debut. But this album blew me away when I heard it. I was kind of just wanting to get away from the whole hair band scene, and I just, everybody I knew was into that, and I just like, no, there's got to be something better. And
this was it
at the time. At the time, I was into bands like the Replacements and bands like that. And here come Pearl Jam. I remember watching them on 120 Minutes. And it was the first time I saw the video for Even Flow. And here's Eddie Vedder climbing up and jumping off of balconies. And it was great. To me, this seemed like the link between classic rock and what would become alternative or grunge or anything.
Mhm.
To me, this was the link. This was the perfect link in between those two. So,
Yeah, Even Flow, Alive, Jeremy, Black. I mean, just
Black.
lot of a lot of airplay on them songs. Lots.
Yeah, even to this day. All right, moving on. Talking about a lot of airplay.
Oh boy,
number 10 is the debut from Boston.
unbelievable.
Every song on this album is still in somewhat rotation on classic rock radio.
Every
today.
song was a hit. Every song on this album. That you talk about a debut. My gosh, you don't get any better than that. Every song, Peace of Mind, Foreplay, Long Time, Rock and Roll Band, Smoking, Hitch a Ride, Something About You, Let Me Take You Home Tonight. Every song.
Even if you've never heard this, never owned this album, you've heard every song on here. Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Came along,
1976.
76, yeah.
Wow.
Tom Scholz had the whole new revolutionary way of recording. He was like this mad genius kind of in a lab, and
He was.
we were hearing about, and then this album came out, and it sure sounded different, but just the great songs, More Than a Feeling, just one of the greats of all time.
Yeah. He
Just
really
fabulous
his guitar tones were out of control, and he also, he invented a lot of things. I had one of his power soaks, Tom Schultz power soak.
Okay.
I'm not gonna get involved in what it does, but I fried it. Too many watts in the cottage there. So nonetheless, so he had so many great inventions, and a lot of that ended up on that album. He recorded a lot of them himself, and then just brought the players in. So
at the time, it was the biggest selling debut album. It was later eclipsed by another one in our countdown coming up. But yeah, fabulous album, fabulous.
Unbelievable. What a
All
great
right.
debut.
Moving along, number 9,
Mm.
The Doors.
Boy, oh boy. You bet your man.
Talk about changing things. I've never been a huge Doors guy. Like the Doors just fine, but never been one that really got into them. But this album changed so much. This was just it had the songs. Baby. Yeah, Break On Through was the first one that came out.
Right.
And then Light My Fire came out and was actually a number 1 hit. So I can just imagine some of the parents picking up this album for their kid and then hearing the end.
Oh, right. Yeah. Light My Fire. Yeah, that should have been the first song, but they put that back in the further down, and that still became their biggest hit, I'm sure. Break On Through, Crystal Ship, 2015, the Library of Congress. Put the album into the National Recording Registry. Now, I've always wondered what the librarians look there at the Library of Congress.
No, I'll stop by there sometime.
Hey there, sweetheart. Shh. That's what you tell me. Shh. Like, but nonetheless, great album. Morrison
groundbreaking.
He was out of his mind his whole career. He's basically out of his mind. I'm amazed. Yeah, they got through a lot of their gigs because he was always wasted. Just amazing. But boy,
the
Lizard King. Yeah, man.
All right.
Good for him.
Up next, number 8.
The
Ramones.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Punk rock came along. This is, depending on how you want to define punk rock, this is the first document of punk rock. Obviously, there were bands before this, the Stooges and whatnot, the proto-punk. But as far as the scene of punk, this was it. This was the first document. This is what got over to England. This is what started, punk over there as well. This is kind of, it had the influence it did at the time here, but it's been kind of even 45 years after now, it's still having that impact on people.
76, come out 76. Yep. 14 songs. It is not even a half hour long.
Right.
29 minutes before they just 2-minute songs, one right into the next, bam, bam, bam.
Wow. Just really quickly, and I see that in a lot of these debut albums, just very quickly recorded. It was like in 7 days. They paid barely over $6,000 to get it recorded, And
How about that?
and there you go. Punk rock is born.
Blitzkrieg Bop. Judy's a punk rocker. I want to be your boyfriend. Great song. A little quick story. A song ain't on this particular record, but Johnny, the guitarist, and Joey, the singer, really didn't like each other.
No.
The whole time they couldn't stand each other, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Political differences. So Johnny once stole Joey's girlfriend.
Right.
So Joey wrote the song "The KKK Took My Baby Away."
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
They
didn't talk for.
They took my baby away. Well, you know.
Yeah, they didn't speak to each other for I want to say almost 20 years. I mean, up until the death there. I don't know how they function as a band.
Exactly. I have no idea how that happened, but boy, that must have been a lot of fun. Sheesh.
Yeah, but they're the Ramones, you know. I mean, hey.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely.
Which very much influenced the next one on our list. At number 7. Yes. Never mind the bollocks. Here comes the Sex Pistols.
There it is. Oh boy, I love it. Love it.
We will do a punk show here in the upcoming weeks, and we'll get more deeply into the Sex Pistols and their place in rock and roll.
Sure.
But this album, it had its impact here in the States, but the impact it had in Britain was just unbelievable. I mean, this was on number 1. They had Anarchy in the UK, God Save the Queen were on the top of the charts. And they couldn't show it. They would block it out, and then they would have it whited out, and then it would say the Sex Pistols, number 1 song.
It was basically banned. Yeah,
absolutely.
It was basically banned, and that made it, of course, sell that much better. So
it was just such a big scene over there. Maybe more so driven by the fashion, but definitely the Sex Pistols were a big part of it. And you know, Johnny Rotten, love him, hate him. I mean,
yeah.
I do. I both love and hate them. I honestly do. It's a complicated thing with the Sex Pistols, but God bless them, and I'm glad they came around.
Oh yeah. I play a couple of their songs in bands. God Save the Queen. We mean it, man. I used to love hollering that at the crowd. We mean it, man.
Yeah, it was kind of when this album came out. It was kind of like, okay, shit's getting real. You know, it was kind of like you had the hippie protests of the 60s and whatnot and everything, but these guys were really like, all right, we're fed up, man. This, you know, this is the shit that's going down, and you need to know about it. And like I said, it just seemed like, all right, shit's getting real now.
Yeah, and Sid Vicious, the bass player, didn't know shit. He didn't know how to play at all.
Well, yeah, he came along.
The guitarist laid down. Yeah, the guitarist basically. Well, they had a sit-in bass player, but
Glenn Matlock played on most of this album.
And then the guitarist filled some in also. But
I think there's 2 songs that
Sid was useless.
Tried to play on. Yeah, Sid was useless.
He was really a piece of work, and then of course ended up dead. Him and Nancy Spungen. So, all right, Sid, good try, man.
All right, moving on.
Oh yeah,
number 6, the top-selling debut album of all time. From Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction.
Oh, bam. Holy
The album came out in 87, and it was kind of a slow to kind of gather some ground. But I'd say by summer 88, it was everywhere. It just changed everything. I think everybody was tired of the hair band kind of scene with the direction that was going in, and here come these guys, kind of from that scene, but boy, they were not about the makeup or anything like that. No, they were for real.
Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Child, Night Train, Paradise City, Mr. Brownstone. Are you kidding me?
Sweet Child of Mine will be one of those songs that'll be played forever, like, you know, Hey Jude or Freebird or any of those. It's right up there.
Well, and the thing is, all of these, you know, they honed these songs on the club scene, on the LA club scene. That's why they're so kick ass. I mean, they didn't just write them and then go to the studio and play them. No. These songs were battle tested in the clubs of LA. So I'm not surprised at all how good it turned out, because that is some serious, like you said, we needed a really serious shot of just some good rock and roll without all the BS.
Yep.
Out of the hair and tight trousers and all that crap. Jeez, I've been there.
So yeah, that ended up selling 18 million copies, biggest selling debut album in rock and roll history. And
amazing, very cool.
Up next, Number 5.
Controversy.
A little bit. Which one is their first album? But
Well, I'm gonna let's go with what I believe is their first. Let me get it up here. Okay, here we go. Give it out, man. Who are we talking about?
We're talking about the Beatles, the
The
Beatles.
Beatles. Now, please me. Now, this was their first release, but it was released in London. It was released in London.
Mhm.
So it was released in 63, March 22nd in 1963, and it had all the great hits in it. My
Exactly.
gosh, just groundbreaking stuff. You know, the hair and everything. My goodness, such a deal about the hair. When you look at the hair back then, and they were considered radical for that haircut.
Oh yeah.
And then the one that Americans are probably more familiar with would be Meet the Beatles. There it is right there.
Meet the Beatles.
There it is. Yeah. Meet the Beatles. Great.
That was the first one released here in the States. That's got songs on it. I Want to Hold Your Hand, Saw Her Standing There.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All those great songs. What else?
Hair.
You know,
I'm
disgusted. Till There Was You. You know, I Want to Be Your Man.
Oh yeah.
And obviously we all know the Beatles' impact on music and their
culture, on everything.
And
Love Me Do.
It just started with the debut album. I mean, it's, you know, was that their best album? You know, no, not far from it. They got way better, but
boy,
for the impact that they had at that time. I mean, we all know the Ed Sullivan Show. We all know when they came over. We know all of that. It's all well documented. But I think it's important to remember to kind of place yourself in the time that it came out.
Time 63.
Have that point of reference and to fully understand the impact that they had.
It's just amazing. Yeah. I mean, I had older brothers and older sisters, more importantly, so I heard all that throughout my youth. I heard all that stuff. And boy, what a way to come up. Great music to come up with. So I'm not complaining at all.
Yeah, I think I've thought about it. I think it's really the last time that the best music and the most popular music were the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I agree.
God bless the Beatles. We'll have a show on them sometime.
No doubt. All right.
Number 4 from 1978, which I believe is the greatest year in music.
Oh,
the debut from Van Halen.
Boom, there it is. Oh boy.
This changed my life.
I
can remember the first time I heard it. I can remember the first time I bought it. I can remember everything about this album. Every song on this album, it has been a part of my life. This just
unbelievable. Yeah. Right. A jukebox back then, I believe they were playing You Really Got Me was that's what got them noticed, was remaking that. They did a really good job, obviously, of that. And then you get over to Eruption, and then suddenly, every song, Running with the Devil, Jamie's Crying, Atomic Pump, Ain't Talking About Love, all these.
The first song I heard was Ain't Talking About Love. Neighbor had it, neighbor kid had it. They were out washing the car, playing Frisbee, and had that blaring, and it just took me over, man. I had to find out who it was, and then Running with the Devil, and just all of them, man. I just love the whole album.
Yep.
To me, it seemed like I was just at that age, that generation where, all the guitar heroes had kind of come before. Jimmy Page and Clapton and everybody, and Hendrix and everybody kind of come before, and this was our guitar hero for my generation. This was the guy that we'll be able to follow from day one and see how he progresses, and it was a thrill up until the day he died. But
very cool, great
album.
Number 3.
All right, we're getting to the big ones now.
Yep.
The debut from the mighty Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin.
We might get some people out there thinking this should rank higher, and I'm sure we will. And I hope you share in the comments your thoughts. But
yeah.
It was a groundbreaking album for sure.
A big jump from the Yardbirds to this. It really, I've seen some video of the Yardbirds on the later Yardbirds, and from Page going to that to this was just stunning. They just took blues songs and just just redid them to perfection. Because most of the album is other people's music. They do have a couple of it on their own there, but for the most part, they just took a lot of old blues songs and just kicked them up a notch and a half. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, everybody may know when the Yardbirds split up. I don't know exactly how, but Jimmy Page ended up with the rights to the name, and originally they were going to be the New Yardbirds. I'm so glad they didn't do that. So I chose Led Zeppelin, and they toured Scandinavia playing these songs, and they had them down to the point when they got in the studio, they were in there. They had 2 days in the studio. They weren't even signed yet. Jimmy Page and their manager Peter Grant put up the money for the studio. They had 2 days, and 1 day was for mixing. So they had 1 day basically to record this, but they had them so well rehearsed from touring, and of course the players are just the best of all time. And so they just went in the studio and knocked it out, and you hear that spontaneity, you hear that urgency, you hear all that in that first record, man.
Good times, bad times, days of confused, communication breakdown. How many more times? Those four right there are just. Yeah, it's just a real piece of work. Oh, number 2. Here we go.
Number 2.
The mighty Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath. Holy cow.
Black Sabbath.
Well, you were just talking about the getting in and out of the studio. They recorded this in one 12-hour session. Right. You're right. Just like Zepp, they had 2 days. So they figured we'll record on the first day and we'll mix it and all that garbage on the second day. So they recorded this in one 12-hour session. Basically, they came in and they've been doing this live show. This was their live show. So they came into the studio and basically did their live show, and boom, very few overdubs, a couple of vocals and a couple guitars, but that's it, man. Just real raw, and boy, it just set the world on fire. The birth of metal.
Yeah, it surprises me how well it was received. Well, not by the critics, but by the fans at the time. I mean, this kind of came out of left field, but I think everybody was tired of the flower power scene and ready for something, real and gritty. And
did they get it? And the gal right there in the picture, they found her. She's
just recently,
in 2020 they found her, and now she's some kind of artist or something. So good for her, But gosh, that's really amazing, though. Having been in the studio quite a bit, I'm just flabbergasted that they could get this done in 12 hours. And the only complaint I have about the album is somebody made them do Evil Woman by Crow. That's the first song on the second side. I still don't figure that. And quite honestly, Crow's version is better. So there you go. But I don't know what they tried to make it more, put a little bit of, I don't know, legitimacy or something in it. Let's do a goofy little song on there. I still don't understand it, because the rest of the album's like a masterpiece. It's that
was their only single that was the only single that they put out. So obviously, debut album, the record company, the management, they didn't know what to do with them. So let's try to get a single out, but it didn't match what they were doing, and nobody cared about the single. Everybody loved the album. Nobody cared about that single that you're talking about. So exactly. Yeah, it made number 23 in the Billboard, and Rolling Stone gives it number 44 on the best debut album. It's got the Wizard, and it's funny because it starts out with the nice soothing rain, and you think, oh, this is such a nice gentle and then
album.
The bells.
And then the bells. Oh, well, that's a little bit ominous. And then the 3 notes hit, and it's all over. Yeah, it's all over. That's all she wrote, baby.
Yeah. We all knew we were in for something different at that point, for sure.
Holy cow. How about that? But boy, what a great debut. And of course, they followed up with Paranoid, which was another masterpiece. So,
Sabbath's first 5 and really first 6. I just listened to Sabotage the other day, and that's a great album.
I got that.
Too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just really the first 6. Really, I mean, it's just it laid the groundwork. I mean,
you bet. Okay, let's finish up number 1.
All right, our number 1 debut album goes back to 1967.
Oh yeah, great year.
Are You Experienced? Jimi Hendrix Experience.
There it is. Good riddance. Good grief.
This album In particular, the American version. The UK version left off a couple of hits. I'm not sure why they did
The
that.
UK version left off Hey Joe and added,
Purple Haze.
added Red House.
Okay. But yeah, you look on here, and it's damn near greatest hits on his debut album, man. You got Hey Joe, Stone Free, Purple Haze, Wind Cries Mary, Foxy Lady, Manic Depression,
This was
Fire, Third Stone from the Sun, Are You Experienced?
Yeah.
Oh my God! And there's other songs.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
well,
my God.
you know, this was the first album I bought. I bought it the year it came out, that Christmas. Me and my two brothers each chipped in $1 and bought it. And it's it's amazing, you know, for 1967, and there's music on there that still just blow your mind. This guy was way ahead of his time back then, and geez, what do you say? And the thing is, you know, he had Noel and Mitch with him, but they played pretty much no part of this album except for playing the parts that were laid out for them. Hendrix, Chaz Chandler kept them away from Hendrix because he didn't want, and he wanted everything done on this to be Hendrix.
It's all Hendrix vision,
nobody's gonna change anything on, you know, it's him. So they'd do the parts and everything, and then bring the other two in and let's lay it down. But yeah, back then the AM radios, and that's what we had, transistor radios back then. They were playing Purple Haze, Hey Joe, Wind Cries Mary, and Foxy Lady. Those were the four that were getting heavy airplay on the AM radios. That would be, you know, our 50,000 watt blowtorch here in the Chicago area. But and then you've still got a Fire, like I say, Third Stone. Are You Experienced? If you've ever listened to Are You Experienced, half the song is recorded backwards. Well, it wasn't recorded backwards, but it's replayed backwards. So Hendrix knew that. So he was playing these parts knowing that as soon as he starts playing, that's actually going to be the end of the song. So he's going through the whole song knowing that it's going to be reversed at some point then. So you listen to the song, Are You Experienced? It's like, this was a guy doing this back in 67. And
he was always experimenting. Putting amps underwater and just all kind, just always looking for something different. Yeah.
Him and that Octavia pedal. That was a big thing on Purple Haze. They had to redo the lead, and they added the Octavia pedal, and that made that great sound. But Are You Experienced? The song itself is that's genius because most of it's backwards. It's you see, once you listen to it, you'll get it. You'll hear what I'm talking about. But those are some great debut albums.
Yeah, absolutely. So we tend to kind of do our top 13 from time to time. We'll do another one next week. You have to watch and see what that one's about. We already know.
Oh man, I'm gonna love this too. I really love these. This one especially because it's right up my forte. It's right up my deep love when it comes to music. So you'll just have to tune in and see what's happening. But there you go. There's our 13 of what we think are some of the great debut albums in rock and roll. So
and obviously several other ones we could throw some honorable mentions, I guess. But but those are the ones that we felt that give them a listen, man.
I just happen to be going through my albums today, and some of them, and I'm coming. Oh well, here's Aerosmith. Geez, that's a pretty good debut. I'm coming through one and another. It's like, I have to do another one of these eventually.
I was saying the same thing. Aerosmith, the Pretenders debut, Black Crowes first album.
Sure.
Oh my God.
We saw them, didn't we? We saw them a couple years back.
Yeah, we saw them a couple years back.
Was that great? That was great. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks again, folks, for stopping by. We hope you enjoyed the show. And Doc Fox, again, man, thanks a lot for helping out here, man. You're the man. You're the dude.
Absolutely, Murph. Everybody, please subscribe. Please, please encourage our behavior. And subscribe.
We want to be able to do live remotes from all our concerts. So we need some subscribers. So come on.
So
jump on board.
I'm sure you have a debut album that touched your heart or changed your life in some way. We'd love to hear about it. So other than that, everybody have a great rock and roll filled week, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.